And and we are live. Hi, I'm Josh Jackson. Welcome to the Paced Happiest Hour. I'm joined today by Watkins Family Hour. We've got Sarah and Sean with us. So great to have you guys.
Glad to be here.
Really great to be here.
So you guys are in Southern California. Um, how has quarantining been? Have y'all been able to see each other this whole time, or is that a more recent thing?
It's more recent. We've been able to see each other because we live close by, and we did a little bit of very far away rehearsing, and then recent family events have brought us closer, and we just decided to kind of quarantine more or less together.
Yeah, we've gone the family route, and we're all being very careful. We're doing all the same things, and neither of us have roommates or any other X factors. So
We feel good about it.
yeah, we feel good about it, and and it's been nice to be able to play some music, with actual people.
That's great. Well, Watkins Family Hour, in addition to being the band that you guys form, is also a variety show that you've been putting on at Largo monthly for years and years, since 2002, which is when Paste was founded. So
Oh,
that feels like a long time to me.
Yeah.
yeah, we started it. The guy who runs Largo, which is used to be basically like a little pub in Hollywood that held 100 people or so. Now it's a theater that holds 100 or 250 people or so. The guy who runs it, his name is Mark Flanagan, kind of just offered us, he just offered us the opportunity to do a monthly show, and said you should call it the Watkins Family Hour and just do whatever you want, try out new songs, do covers. And at the time we were doing really heavy Nickel Creek touring, but it was 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So we would be home for a week, and we would always do it during that week. And it just enabled us to kind of get some of the local musicians that we knew out to play, and then meet a bunch of other new people. And there was a whole scene, and still is, a scene of music and comedy that surrounds Largo. And so we kind of just got to jump into that scene, and we've been doing it every month ever since, and it's never gotten old. It's always been a lot of fun.
Well, I've been sad not to ever get to see it. Every time I've been in LA, it just hasn't lined up.
Yeah.
But the folks that you were playing with, Benmont Tench, Greg Lees, Fiona Apple joining to sing, John C. Riley, it seems like a pretty great bunch of folks getting together playing music.
Yeah, and it's a wide range. A lot of times, just friends who are on tour and have a night off, or recording in town, need a place to blow off some steam after a tense day in the studio, can come by and play something. And it's been a really healthy thing for us, a
Mhm.
really great outlet.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a mix of those. When we first started doing it, we realized there were people like Benmont and Greg Lees who we idolize as musicians, and especially the beginning, tended to think, oh, there's no way that these sort of people would want to come down and play at a little pub with us. But it turns out they do, especially when they're off tour. A place that sounds good and with an audience that's respectful is really desirable, and that's why Largo has been able to do what it's done. It just offers a place for these people to come and play music, and every town has its version of that, where people feel comfortable coming down and playing songs. So we feel really grateful for it.
That's fantastic. Well, congrats. You have a second album that just released, Brother Sister.
Hmm.
And while it features some fun friends on there singing along with you, this is a more stripped down, more kind of featuring what the two of you do.
Hmm.
Yeah, we didn't have the title for the record until after it was made, and we were putting together the packaging, but it just made a lot of sense. It's very duo-centric, and we do have some friends on there, but all the writing and arranging was with the design of each song being complete, if performed as a duo, which is convenient now because that is what we are
Yeah.
in quarantine. But it's a very family oriented, like the songwriting and also like just the packaging is very close to home for us. Our dad did the handwriting on it. We wanted the artwork to look, we wanted the photos to look like, you know, family photos that everybody has in a shoebox somewhere in a closet, you know, those kinds of those just like 35 millimeter shots. And we just, you know, we want it to feel like we want it to look and sound like we feel as siblings, you know.
Well, that's great. Well, it's a wonderful album. Are you going to play something for us from it today?
Yeah. We'll start with one that this is one of the first songs that we wrote for this record. It kind of shaped the general sonic vibe. Once we wrote it and worked on it with our producer Mike Viola, who had a huge hand in helping us kind of shape these songs and put them together. It's called Just Another Reason. 1, 2. One month for the lifeline, thrown from a boat. Stop him drowning, keep you afloat. Now in the tether, tied to a more, keeping you short. All that you need, gotta leave it behind. It's all burning down, it's just a matter of time. Once this fire will live in the past, now it's just another reason. Now it's just another reason. Now it's just another reason. This fire that's been burning since the day you arrived. Kept you turning, and you kept it alive. I hope you uphold, lying in the dirt. Even when it hurts, all that you need, gotta leave it behind. It's all burning down, it's just a matter of time. Once this fire was in the place, now it's just another reason. Now it's just another reason. Now it's just another reason. One hand holds what it is that you want. The other is open on what you forgot. It's just another reason to get away. One hand holds what it is that you want. It's just another reason to get away. The other is open on what you forgot. And it's just another reason to get away. One hand holds what it is that you want. And it's just another reason. It's just another reason to get away. One and all that you want. It's just another reason to get away. It's just another reason to get away.
Woo! That's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
So we had the War and Treaty on the other day, and we've had so many solo artists that I had forgotten harmonies and what that could do in a live environment. It's so great to have you both on here and to hear that brother-sister harmony and the interplay between the instruments. This is fantastic, so thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, Warren Treaty knows something about that.
What's that?
Warren Treaty knows something about that.
Yeah,
harmony.
they do know something about that. So, I mean, so much what you guys do is collaborative. I mean, throughout both of your careers, it's one project to the next and different collaborators and the fun of what that creates. And I know just part of the genre that you come from is the tradition is sitting around even after the show with other musicians and sitting around in a circle and calling out songs. And um, how hard has this been to not have that part of life right now because of the quarantine?
It's, I mean, speaking for myself, it's, it's a big empty part of our lives. But I mean, I think that personally, I feel like, I don't know how you feel, but like, there are so many people in really, really, really bad shape right now, that it's kind of hard to pour me this kind of thing. I mean, we're lucky. We're okay for now. We've got houses in safe domestic relationships and our family as well, Yeah. Feels like that's pretty good.
All that to say, yeah, of course we absolutely miss it, and every now and then come across like a video, or like I was watching that Radiohead concert from Bonnaroo in 2006 that one of Johnny Greenwood posted about it, and it just sounds really great. And just watching that was, I got so excited, and just watching people stand that close to each other and sing these songs together. I think that I think we're not gonna take that for granted whenever we get a chance to do that next. That's for sure.
I was listening to the band's record Rock of Ages, which is a live record, and after the first song, when I heard the applause, it wasn't like, oh, I missed the applause. It was like, oh, there's that many people in one room together, and I had never thought about that being a thing that I was at that time. That was the first time I realized, like, oh, a bunch of people in one room, like, what a magic thing.
The power of a lot of people in one room doing the same thing, even just applauding, is so powerful, let alone like singing together. And I think that's something that we took for granted and maybe didn't know, that that's what it was. And when there's that many people doing one thing, it's incredible,
Yeah, I had that same experience listening to the new live Hiss Golden Messenger, who's going to be joining us in here in a minute. But that first time after the first track, you hear the applause, and it's that feeling that, oh yeah, I really missed that.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to play for us second today?
We're gonna play another song, our second. I think it was like our second featured track. It's called "Fake Badge, Real Gun," and a lot of this record was written here in my house. Actually, when Sean would come over between the hours of like 12 and 3 when my toddler was napping, and we would just get down to business and work real densely in those windows. And this was another one of the earlier ones that we put together for the record.
Well, kind of towards the end, actually.
Was it? I thought it was.
Towards about halfway through. Yeah, it's sort of once we had the general vibe and figured out, this one kind of came out because we already had a few songs that had a tonal center that sounded similar. And this is one of them. I've been writing songs lately from song title first backwards, so I have a list in my phone of potential new songs just by title, and I had this one for a while. I got it from kind of stole it from a local news headline that I saw while on the road somewhere that just said "Fake Badge, Real Gun," and I don't know what the story was, but it was probably what you think it is, and I just thought it was interesting and wrote it down, and then this song came out one day when Sarah and I were here at her place working on new songs. 2, 3, 4.
You got a fake bad
time has come again. Now you wait, throw your tantrums, like the truth you're waiting. Truth you're waiting. You gotta take back the ring, gun, throwing shame in that mother, give them hell, a fight. You gotta take back the ring, gun, you won't see. About the one who never know the damage is done. Have your day, have your fun, see what you say. All fine and come again. Have your way, from your tantrums, like the truth you're waiting. The truth you're waiting.
So great. So with the Watkins Family Hour no longer happening at Largo right now, it is happening weekly online. Can you tell us a little bit about how people would tune in and find that?
Yes.
Yeah.
We started a series. We're doing. We're starting with 4 shows. This Thursday will be our second, and we're trying to make them similar to the kind of setup that we would have at Largo. We have at least 2 guests coming each show, and they're gonna join us from their place via Zoom, and we'll get to talk to them and hang out. And last week, our first week was like more fun than I expected.
Yeah.
Like, it felt really good to hang out with our friends and to connect as much as possible on Zoom.
Yeah, it's called, we're calling it Work From Home with Watkins Family Hour, and it's Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, so 7 o'clock Eastern time, and the first one was an hour and a half long, but we're going to try and keep this one to an hour or so. But we'll have more guests. Warren Treaty is going to be one of our guests this Thursday, along with Taylor Goldsmith and Mandy Moore.
Great.
So,
Taylor and Warren Treaty have both been on this, so we just need to get Mandy Moore on.
Yeah, so people can just go to our website, watkinsfamilyhour.com, and get the info there.
Or on our Instagram page.
Yeah. I can totally relate. This is doing the Happiest Hour has been so much fun for me, because I know at the end of every day I'm going to get to connect with somebody, hear some great music, and just have a nice conversation. And it's, those are things that I've felt the absence of in my life. Yeah. So this has been so much fun.
It's it's funny. The rhythm is really nice. And I was talking to our friend Ben Mott, who was saying that he started dressing up for dinner at home, and I realized that probably has something to do with in the old days when lords and ladies would dress up for dinner and different things, that were changing all their clothes to get fancy for just their family at dinner in their castle, because you gotta have something.
You gotta have that rhythm of life, that rhythm, thing to look forward to.
You're in isolation.
Well, one question we ask everybody who's on the show is, what is that piece of art, whether it's a TV show, a book, an album, that is occupying you right now during quarantine?
Netflix.
All of it.
The whole
Almost
thing.
finished.
Yeah, no, I think it's almost finished. Yeah, I'm working my way through. I watched the Michelle Obama documentary last night, which was really great. Just kind of taking a moment to sort of use. I'm trying to balance the watching of stupid, mindless stuff with stuff that is educational, and something that I can take with me outside of it. I don't know if there's one particular piece of anything. I just kind of going through it. There's a lot of people are putting out a lot of great music.
We've been listening, or we've been limiting our television watching till after dinner, and so it's usually just like 2 or 3 episodes of something. And Cheers is something we go back to a lot.
Oh, really?
It's
cool.
So good. It's like all the characters are so fun and so charming, and it's really well done. And it's the whole like live in front of a studio audience. You hear feedback sometimes,
right?
Because there's speakers in the room. It's really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard a couple people, friends of mine, who've been doing a Cheers rewatch and really enjoying it. So.
Yeah.
Podcasts too. There's a lot of great podcasts. I just started one called Wind of Change, which is about how the CIA, I guess, wrote the song "Wind of Change" as part of like a propaganda thing for.
Really?
Yeah, it's really
Wow.
great. It just came out, I think, this last week, and it's like 10 years of research that go into this. It's incredible. I've just started it, but it's amazing. So.
And for anybody who's into or curious about bluegrass, there's a great podcast called Toy Heart that's out now. That's I've been learning so much from. And it's been
really,
great interviews.
I will have to check that out. Well, cool. Yeah. Well, so many kind comments on YouTube here. Sean and Sarah, I'm so happy to see y'all on the Pace podcast. More people need to be introduced to your artistry and songwriting. I love this. Somebody that watched the WFH last week saying 90 minutes flew by. Thanks for keeping us sane. So.
We'll be back this Thursday and every other Thursday for a while.
Yep.
Doing our work from home Zoom series.
Fantastic. Well, I'm bringing Mike MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger into the mix here. He should be popping up on the screen here in a second. There he is.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. I like you just hiding at the bottom of your screen there.
I know. I have to say I'm sort of I've actually managed to make it through this whole thing without using Zoom yet once. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, welcome to Zoom.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to see you guys.
Yeah, it's fun. I resisted for a while, but then I just kind of realized it's sort of this or nothing, and it's actually been surprisingly normal. So
I can look right into your eyes this way too.
Yeah. Stop doing it. You're looking at my soul.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been against it for any kind of anything other than I've just been doing stuff on my phone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm having kind of a hard time with it actually.
With the isolation.
Well, I love no, not so much that, but just like performing on this stuff is just it's missing the biggest component of it.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier. Sarah was talking about listening to a live album from the band and just hearing that crowd noise. And I had the same thing listening to your record today, the new live record. Just hearing the clapping, it just, I don't know, it just sort of carried me away. It did something. It was a little crazy.
It's funny. I feel like I'm learning a lot. I've been able to like put a name to a lot of things about myself during this time. Like I don't mind so much being isolated and kind of working alone, but I feel like we're to the point where I'm an introverted person, I would say, but I've been kind of craving that human connection and really feeling that lately.
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of felt like I'll probably be happy to work down in my studio for as long as this goes on. But as it turns out, we need other humans. I mean, my family is around, but I'm not really playing music with anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
true.
It's so great to have you on here. This is the part of our show where we like to just toast whoever we think we need to toast. And
oh yeah, sure. I have a beer here.
All right, me too.
You guys are on East Coast. You're ahead of us.
Yeah, we are East Coast.
Are you guys drinking water or are you drinking moonshine?
Oh, I wish this was half a cup of moonshine, but it's water.
Cheers. Well, I raise a toast to you guys. It's nice to see y'all here.
Great to see you too.
So I wanted to raise a toast today. Just listening to your album, Mike, and hearing about what you've been doing. To the teachers.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've got one kid in high school. My wife and daughter are both taking college classes, and you know, I see it from my end. It's tough, but I know, and talking to teacher friends, and my brother and sister-in-law are both educators, and it's hard right now, particularly down this final stretch where everybody's got finals and is just done mentally. And I know they're all got to be struggling. So to the teachers.
Cheers to the teachers.
Yep. Well, I'm going to cheers the parents out there.
You're a parent, Sarah, right?
Yeah, but I have one kid. She's little. It's fine. But like,
how old is she now?
What?
How old is she now?
2.5.
2.5. Oh yeah.
She's super sweet, but I think about people who are, you know, they've got more little people around than that, and a lot of responsibility for actually educating them. I mean, mine, she's still dumb. Like anything is teaching her. She was just commenting about how every car on the road has wheels. So it's like I got it cake right now. But
not really though. There's a challenge there too.
Challenging.
I want to cheers all of you people who have multiple little ones running around, and you feel the obligation of education as well as trying to keep money coming in.
I will take that. Cheers.
All right, to the parents out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, you got a toast for us today?
You guys, you know, thank you. I will just cheers to you for doing this on a daily basis. That's really amazing. And for having us on and continuing to do whatever you can to keep music out there in the world. So thank you.
Well, thanks. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. And Sean and Sarah, congrats on y'all's new record. I know it probably didn't roll out quite the way you were hoping, but it's really good.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Can't wait
much.
to check out your new live one too.
Yeah, cool.
Well, Sean and Sarah, thanks so much for being on the show today, bringing the music. This has been so much fun. Next time you're in Atlanta with actual touring and, you know, playing shows in front of an audience, we'd love to have you by the Pace Studio and do this again in person.
Yes, please.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
There we go. Well, Mike, good to have you here, man. Welcome to Zoom. And I say that, and you've frozen. Can you still hear me?
Thank you.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
Yeah, it's my maiden
Click on
voice.
cue.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, cool. Well, congrats on your new record. I just want to hear a little bit from you about making this record. I know you had a song that was really kind of celebrating teachers, and particularly those during the teacher strike there in North Carolina. And now you've got a whole album that is basically just one giant benefit for your public school system. So can you tell us a little bit about how that happened? Sure.
I feel like I'm in touch with I'm maybe a little more in touch with publication than some people because my wife is a public school teacher and both my kids go to public schools. So, and it's always been something that kind of had my heart because my parents were both public school teachers. I've just been surrounded by them my whole life. So when all of this started, my wife came home and said, "There's going to be a lot of hungry kids out there if there can't." It was right as they were about to cancel school, and she said, "There are going to be a lot of hungry kids out there if school is canceled," and that kind of got me thinking about what I could do, some way to raise money. And I've been keeping an archive of live recordings that go back many years of his shows. So I have more stuff recorded than I could ever deal with. So I started talking to my buddy Luke Soor, who is my front of house engineer, about whether there was any recordings that we could put out as a benefit. And he said, well, one of the ones at the Cradle that we got was, the Cradle is our local venue here, the Cat's Cradle. He said, one of those shows that we recorded is really good. We should check that out. So it all kind of came together from there. I had already been donating to this organization that all the money has gone to, called the Bull City Schools Foundation, or the Durham Public Schools Foundation. So I already was sending money to them like for the past 6 months because we were fundraising for them on tour. So they were the obvious place to start sending money, and it's been helpful. And I've been going to volunteer to load trucks or load buses up with food that gets distributed in the community. So I've actually been able to see where the money is going. It's many buses full of food.
That's fantastic. Yeah, my sister-in-law's been going and loading up buses for their kids on her route. She teaches little ones in South Carolina.
Yeah. It feels good to do something like that, I think.
Well, that's incredible. If there's any silver lining of everything that's going on right now, it seems like there's a generosity of spirit out there right now. And that's so awesome what you're doing. What are you going to play for us today? Something off that's on that record?
Yeah, I'll play something from there. Why don't I play the teacher song?
Yeah, I need a teacher. All right.
Well, I need a teacher. And that song was written right here where I'm sitting right now.
That's a cool room with some nice guitars on the wall there.
Yeah, this is my little sanctuary. Yes, love may harder, cry like thunder, hit the floor, painted different color. Though you're under, dead slightly deeper, paycheck smaller. Goddamn, I need a teacher. Like me, daddy, I'm still your kid. The ways the world's are very different. You in the book of American moment. Like me, daddy, happiness ain't free. I see where you're at, I know you can see me. You in the book of American moment. Yes, tell the truth, dear. Don't be cheated. That's no way to play it, to say it, to feel it. My love, make me thankful. No, it ain't easy. Give it away freely. It'll come back to you eventually. Like me, daddy, I'm still your kid. The ways the worlds are very different. You in the book of American moment. Rock me daddy, happiness ain't free. I see where you're at, I know you can see me. Beauty in the broken American moment. Rock me daddy, I'm still your kid. The ways to you are so very different. Beauty in the broken American moment. Rock me daddy, happiness ain't free. I see where you're at, I know you can see me. Beauty in the broken American moment.
Try to fill in that applause that I'm sure is the love that's coming from all the YouTube viewers right now. So Durham, North Carolina, how are things in Durham right now? Are you getting outside and seeing a little bit of the world?
Yeah, I mean Durham is a small town, so maybe we're not feeling it. So I mean we're feeling it, but you know I have a big backyard. We have functioning bicycles. We have trails we can ride. We have a big garden. My wife has been doing a ton of gardening. So you know we're doing okay. We're in better shape than most people, I would say, and I feel very, very fortunate about that, and I feel that every day. So you know, it could be a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
I miss people.
I'm with you. So yeah, that seems to be a theme: is people gardening, walking on trails, just getting outside, and that reconnection to nature feels like a little bit of filling the soul back up. At least for me and a lot of people I've been talking to, that's been a huge help, and it's made me think of those folks that are living in New York in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Oh man, no doubt. I know. I have friends in New York that are dealing with a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel lucky, man. I really do. And I've been writing a ton of music. I mean, I've probably recorded a record since this started. So I was getting ready to go in and make a record before this all started anyway. Not really having the songs, but I sort of put a deadline in front of myself and had some ideas. But now there are many, many finished songs. So, you know, I'm looking forward to gathering with my people and recording.
That's fantastic. It's been a year since Terms of Surrender. So you've got a couple albums worth of songs now. Are you going to play us a new one today, or are you?
No, I don't know that
not ready for prime time yet.
Well, making music in my studio is like I remember the part only long enough to record it, and then I have to go back and learn it off those demos. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
No, I thought I'd play an older song.
Great.
I'm gonna play Caledonia. Caledonia, my love, won't you come to me? 12 pieces of silver and gold in your teeth. Said good King John, many fathoms deep, from the fire of the morning to the blood of the evening. Oh, Caledonia, my love, won't you come to me? 12 pieces of silver and gold in your teeth. To the wandering one with a dark-eyed hue. Oh, he lives in wild places, and he don't love you. Yes, the baddest of the angels, sit and cry for nothing. And some die in the rushes. Caledonia, my love, won't you come to me? 12 pieces of silver and gold in your teeth. To the mother and father with a child of 3. Freedom ain't nothing when you never been free. Oh, Caledonia, my love, won't you come to me? 12 pieces of silver and gold in your teeth. To the lonely child, little Rosalie. Freedom ain't nothing when you never been free.
Oh, what a great song. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Sure.
So one thing we ask everybody on the show is, what is that piece of art, TV show, book, series of albums, whatever, that has been occupying you when you're not writing your own songs in your little basement there?
I mean, so I'll tell you that this space down here is usually where I play the music that would be too chaotic for upstairs, which is where my family is, and that's where we play a little more chill stuff. So like I have all my like free jazz and stuff down here.
Nice. So it really is your sanctuary.
Sort of, yeah. Like I'm looking, I have like a lot of very noisy free jazz and like Captain Beefheart records down here. But I have actually connected. I've been listening to a lot of Grateful Dead during this time. I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan. Anyway, there's something sort of if you like them. I don't know if you like them. I'm hesitant to even open up that can of worms. But for me, the Grateful Dead is there is something emotionally whole about their music. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of sadness and a lot of happiness in it, and I'm kind of looking for that type of whole emotion in music. So there's this record is really good for that. This is a Dollar Brand. Dollar Brand was a South African pianist. He goes by the name Abdullah Ibrahim now. This is one of the greatest records ever. This is a record that I play almost every morning for my kids, like when we're getting ready for school, and it's called Cape Town Fringe. It's really beautiful.
I'm writing that down right now. I got to hear that. All right, so help me with an argument here. We are right now working through what were the best albums of 1970, 50 years ago this year. And there's 2 Grateful Dead albums to choose from, American Beauty and Working Man's Dead. You have a preference? Which is the better album?
They're both so good. They're both slightly different sides of the same coin. I personally am really connected to the slow kind of sepia tones of Working Man's Dead. But and that was my point of entry into the Grateful Dead. So I'm always gonna feel like that's my one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
But American Beauty is a pretty perfect record too.
It's crazy that they have 2 albums that year that are like top 10. So
I know. It's really, yeah. It's those are 2 special records.
So you've written a bunch of songs. I mean, who knows what the future looks like right now, but do you have thoughts of where these are getting recorded? What we can expect from these albums?
Yeah, I mean,
what's different?
That is, I always think the records are way more different than casual listeners feel like they are. So, yeah, I don't know. I know the group of people that will be playing on this stuff. And so I kind of write towards what I know they can do. Like, I demo everything at my house myself, playing drums and bass and keys and everything, but it's just placeholder stuff until I can get like real ringers in. I mean, it's kind of searching music, but I think all my music is sort of like that. And it's pretty rhythmic, sort of trancey. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Well, I'm excited to hear when it eventually drops in that future post time that
we don't know anything about it. Yeah.
So, how can people help? Where can people find Forward Children? Just listen to it.
Yeah. So Forward Children is the live record that I put out like a month ago in support of the Durham Public Schools Foundation, which is an organization that is sort of on the front lines getting food to students and their families in our community in Durham, North Carolina. So if you just do a search on Forward Children, Hiscold Messenger, the way that the most money goes to Durham Public Schools Foundation is by buying it on Bandcamp. Mm-hmm. But also all streaming revenue on Spotify and Apple Music is going to that organization as well. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. That is such a cool thing you're doing. So,
thanks.
And thank you so much for coming on and doing this and sharing your music. And this has been so much fun.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, stay safe in Durham. And like I said with Sarah and Sean, when all this is done, we'd love to see you down in Atlanta.
Thank you. I can't wait to come back to Atlanta.
I can't either.
All right. Thanks, bud. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.